Now, this brings me on to modern animal ritual sacrifices in the name of humankind once again. And today we do not honour the gods so religiously, and we have a deeper understanding of the world around us. So why do some people still have the bloodthirsty need to partake suffering by means of sacrifice? Blood sacrifice, I should specify. Now, one tradition that started around 4,000 years ago to hunt for food and still goes on today is seal hunting or sealing. Now, this is legally carried out and even prompted in 8 countries: Canada, Namibia, Iceland, Norway, Russia, Finland, Sweden and Greenland. Russia and Canada have stricter regulations on hunting certain endangered species of seals and pups under certain ages. Canada has the highest number of seals killed each year and therefore has quotas that cap the number of seals killed per year. Just to give you an idea, the number of seals killed in 2007 in Russia was estimated to be 4,500 seals, Greenland 90,000 seals, and Canada 220,000 seals were killed. I imagine in Canada alone more seals are killed than the population of people living in Solihull in the UK or Richmond in Virginia, USA. And during the 1950s to the 1970s, harp seals populations in Canada rapidly declined, causing them to be endangered. Activists pressured the government to regulate the number of seals being killed, so the Canadian Department for Fisheries and Oceans was set up and set quotas for how many could be killed. Once the amount was reached, the hunt was closed. From 2007 until present day, the quota hasn't actually been met. Now, for example, in 2010 the quota was 330,000 seals, but only 67,000 were actually killed. Now, in 2016, around 66,000 seals were killed, against a 400,000 seal quota. So at least the number is steadily dropping. Bless. It's thought this has been largely due to the EU and Russia banning the import of seal products. Seal fur and pelt products contributed 16 million Canadian dollars to the 18 million seal industry. Since the ban, this industry has declined, so the need for hunting has decreased. This, combined with the amount of activists campaigning against the heavy regulations and training before obtaining a sealing license, hunters have been put off killing so many. It's also worth mentioning that of the carcasses. Now, thousands of them are just tossed back into the sea after being skinned. Many are, as expected, still alive after this. This is due to there is now little industry for the blubber and bones. This makes all those seal deaths even more in vain. Oh, but so long as some little needle prick has their fun, well, killing an animal that can't possibly defend itself, well then who cares, eh, Canada?
Oh, come back, proud Canadians.
Just to make a further point as well, I'm not going to include the Inuit seal hunting here, as the Inuits kill a very small amount of seals and other animals as they use them solely as a food source. And yes, the clothing for furs to wear, but to which they do genuinely seem to need. They do not profit, again, generally from hunting, and do not overkill, as their culture tends to have more respect for the land and the animals, to some degree at least. Now, the Canadian government does try to keep the event alive by increasing quotas and commercially advertising towards fishermen. They claim that seal hunting is necessary for the sake of tradition. Well, child sacrifice was a tradition in Mesoamerica. Do they still do it? They also promote it for financial gains. Despite EU banning imports, Canada are trying to export to China, but they say business has been slow as the demand isn't very high. Oh, well, that's a shame. And speaking of the Chinese, let's travel across to the factory of the world we call China.
To China! Hooray!
And incite one of their modern traditions. Now, the Dog and Lychee Festival, aka the Yulin Festival, was only started in 2009 and sees the consumption brutality and humiliation of around 15,000 cats and dogs every June for 10 days. Now, the animals are beaten painfully to death, or skinned alive, or boiled alive, and even have parts cut off, and then the animal thrown back to the street to suffer pain and disease and inevitably die. Images of this practice are widely available online, thanks to a lot of opposition around the globe, and in China itself, I should add. The consumption of dog meat is legal in China and has been used for over 4,000 years. The festival was begun to mark the first day of the summer solstice, as eating dog meat was supposed to make you cooler during hot summers and bring good luck. I do have to question the science behind these claims, though. The Yulin festival has very little regulation due to Chinese law not recognizing animals as pets like how Western countries do. Having pets were even banned at one point in China. However, due to changing attitudes, there are over 60 million registered pets in China, and the trade in dog meat has dropped to around 10 million dogs being killed, again due to other countries banning imported dog meat, therefore meaning there is less financial gain. However, the traditionalists of Yulin seem very protective and endorsing of the event. Journalists report how the markets are full with live dogs and cats kept in small hot metal cages or even strung up on rope to prepare for the event. One Chinese-based journalist called Marcel Vink even reported being kicked out of his hotel in Yulin the night before the start of the festival, as they also don't like foreigners witnessing the event.
Am I to understand this is not something you wish to see?
This was also stated by other reporters, where they claimed to be denied access to the markets and even public buildings where animal slaughter takes place. It goes to show the Chinese are fully aware of how this is frowned upon.
Deny it, you slut.
And celebrities such as Sharon Osbourne and Lisa Vanderpump has organised rallies to raise awareness for the festival and how it needs to be stopped. A UK petition attracted 4 million signatures and 11 million signatures on a global petition by the Humane Society International. These have both been forwarded to the Chinese Republic government, but the response is that they were powerless as the event isn't officially recognised. But they could do more. They could ban all dog and cat meat consumption, ban informal events, fine local councils for not persuading people away from participating in the event. Just a few suggestions, China. A young girl did post on social media how the world shouldn't judge all the townspeople of Yulin for the event, as there is a lot of locals who oppose it. It has also been reported that there is less signage now advertising the event and dog meat and less public slaughters. And in 2015 it was reported only around 1,000 animals were killed, just a tenth of the previous years. Let's hope this is true. However, it is feared that activists' work is only the tip of the iceberg, as there is also a massive illegal dog meat trade, and the Chinese government are reluctant to help ban or at least regulate the event. But anyway, now let's move on to Japan and their dolphin hunting and whaling habits. The main area guilty of this is Taiji, but it is also practiced in many other areas of Japan, and in countries such as Iceland and Peru. Interestingly, in Peru it's illegal to hunt dolphins. However, illegal fishing hunts around 1,000 to 2,000 dolphins a year for food consumption, sold as sea pork.
What, are you retarded?
They are harpooned and beaten to death on the boats. A further 5,000 to 15,000 dolphins are killed and dumped as bait to then attract sharks, for the sharks to also then be used as food and sell for more money. Now, hunting dolphins was also commonplace in the USA, mainly Texas, where dolphins were shot, and also Hawaii, where the dolphins were forced ashore. This practice ended after World War II, and in Taiwan hunting dolphins was common until it was outlawed at the end of the 20th century. So yes, a little bit of a variation of information there surrounding dolphins. Anyway, back to Japan. To sum up the horrific slaughter that happens here, the sea literally turns red with blood. The hunting season lasts for 6 months from September to February. The Japanese government released a statement stating that the hunt is carried on because of the traditional value and the fact that the animals they hunt are not in danger. Well, that's not the point now, is it? They are still ending the lives of many dolphins who are entitled to live their lives as nature intended. I don't understand why human beings don't get this. The festival starts in Taji Cove, where the sea colour changes. The local fisheries and the union set a quota for 1,900 dolphins to be killed in 2017. However, it is known that many more will be killed as the boats and such don't declare all dolphins captured, and not all boats are regulated to ensure compliance with the quota. Now, fishermen bang metal poles off the sides of boats to disorientate dolphins and whales' sonar sensors. They are then forced into the cove and have nets tossed upon them. Once out the water, they are stabbed and skinned alive. It does make you wonder why, since dolphin meat is not in high demand and is illegal to export to many countries also, if you look that up. Also, the meat is not safe to eat for humans as they have a very high level of mercury inside of them. It is also noteworthy that a documentary called The Cove was Oscar nominated for its impact on the festival, and is worth watching, albeit a bit gruesome though, but informative. Anyway, moving on. A brief mention needs to go to octopus wrestling in the USA. This was made popular in the 1960s and declined in the 1970s. Now, it involved a man swimming with octopuses until one latched on and the man had to bring it ashore and get the octopus off, which was not easy. The man who won had the heaviest octopus. Now, these were then thrown back into shallow beach waters where they had little chance of survival, killed or sold to aquariums. The sport seemed extremely unusual, and it is not surprising how short-lived it was. A major ongoing fight with animal activists in the Spanish lands, and we all know what's coming, don't we? Yes, of course, it's bullfighting, which is continuously performed during the year. The Spanish deem this practice a cultural art form, as again it is traditional. Now, people see the spectre as being a human taunting the bull until it is tired and therefore loses, where the matador is then able to kill the bull in victory. However, the game isn't all that honest. Sandbags are dropped onto the bull's backs to hinder their running, horns shaved to imbalance their weight, dazed by drugs, Vaseline smeared into their eyes to obstruct their sight, all these so the human can win in a fight with the bull that, well, frankly doesn't even know what's happening. Such cowardice. When the bull is released into the arena, he is lanced in the back and neck by men on horseback to weaken him from blood loss. Then the bull is taunted by brightly coloured sticks with a sharp end to further increase the blood loss. Lastly, the matador appears with his sword to strike the aorta for an instant kill. If he misses, then he uses a dagger to sever the spine, typically. This then paralyzes the bull, so he can then be chained by the horns to a car or truck, and then drove off humiliatingly as he's still bleeding out. If the crowd was impressed with the show, the tail or other body parts were presented as trophies. It's also a fact in that the bull is killed if they injure or even kill any of the cowards in the arena. So either way, even if the bull wins, he loses, because ultimately he is killed. Now, sticking with Spain, there is also an event known as the Running of the Bulls. Since 1924, 15 people have died due to bulls being forced to roam through the streets whilst being speared and tortured on the way to the arena to be, nevertheless, killed, inevitably. Nowadays, this is supposedly only practiced in one region of Spain called Pamplona. It takes place at 8 a.m. To allow minimal risk to people and only takes around 3 minutes to complete. It involves people running in front of the bulls to represent the butchers who would run ahead to entice them to the arena in previous centuries. Now, as I mentioned, the bulls are taunted beforehand, so they already are hindered, as the runners have a chance, but most never win, as forelegs outmatched too. There are usually injuries, as expected. Some people, quite a few in fact, have been impaled on a horn or been trampled on. So, just to summarise, we aggravate the bulls to run in front of which hurt people, then kill the bull in the arena anyway. Yes, well, that makes sense, I suppose, somewhere, maybe in the depths of an idiot's mind. Anyway, this now brings me on to the illegal puppy trade in the UK.